In a world and a society that requires us to run, to work to the point of exhaustion, we need to allow ourselves the space to become aware of these. Hi friends, so happy to have you back. Sandy Salgado here. If you are new, welcome. All you need to know about this podcast is that here we have honest conversations, we have deep conversations. More often than not, they are convicting conversations, but they are all to edify the body of Christ. So no matter how you got here, I do hope that you stick around. In today's conversation, we are going to talk about the goodness of God, about overlooked blessings, and about the appreciation we should have through every season. Lately, I myself have done a lot of meditating, a lot of thinking about who is God to us and about the place that He has in our life, and especially most importantly in our heart. I've been thinking a lot specifically about how easy it is to overlook blessings, family, health, relationships, the air we breathe, mental soundness. I've thought about the fact that too much of anything, whether good or bad, can cause us to overlook the blessings that we do have, especially in the times that we are living in and in the country, if you're in the United States, in the country that we are, where everything is so easily available to us. So much so that it can bring us to a place where we stop considering these things actual blessings. The Bible in the book of James tells us that every good gift comes from above, from the Father of lights, who does not change, and that these gifts really do come from God, not just the big, extraordinary, obvious miracle blessings, but everything, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem. Obvious question. So, Sandy, how do we live from a place of continuous gratitude? Number one, we slow down. In a world and a society that requires us to run, to work to the point of exhaustion, to hustle and bustle unapologetically, we need to allow ourselves the space to become aware of these blessings, to do inventory of what it is that we have been gifted. Matter of fact, what are you doing right now? Are you by chance working out at the gym? Sitting at your kitchen table, eating a snack perhaps? Or maybe you're curled up in your bed underneath all these pillows and all these covers. Or perhaps you're driving a really, really nice, reliable car. Or maybe not such a nice car, but one that takes you to and fro. One that gets the job done. Let me ask you, when was the last time that you got off the hamster wheel? Or the last time that you detoured from that rat race of hustle and bustle? When was the last time that you actually sat down and had a nice meal without taking a picture of your food to share to your stories, and you took a bite and you closed your eyes and you thought of nothing but that very moment and how delicious that meal was? You see, these little things that encompass most of our days and most of our life, if we really think about it, these are the true blessings. And by saying this, I am in no way, shape, or form minimizing the big blessings, the obvious blessings, the miracles, the breakthroughs. What I am trying to do is simply to accomplish that we acknowledge the entirety of our inventory, not just material blessings, which again, they are blessings. But I want to take a moment to acknowledge all of it. We live in a time and in a day where society is so fixated on material accomplishments, material success, that we tend to overlook the entirety of what we have and who we are. Health, people, relationships, peace. Lord knows peace is on the top of the list. Growth, lessons, hardship, and wisdom that comes from this hardship. All of it. The entirety of existence is a blessing in and of itself. But when was the last time, like I said, that we allowed ourselves the space and the time to be able to acknowledge all that we have, all that we are, all that we've accomplished? Most importantly, acknowledge that all came from the hand of God, the goodness of God. When we slow down, we can see the hand of God in everything. And if you don't believe me, ask yourself, what do I already have that I prayed for months ago or years ago that God answered and delivered that prayer? Did you become so familiar with whatever it is that he gave you, whatever prayer it is that he answered, whether it was a job, an opportunity, a relationship, a spouse, a child, so much so that you stopped appreciating it and overlooking it? And don't worry, you're not alone on this. I had to ask myself these very questions before I turned this camera on. Gratitude shifts our focus. It humbles us. It reminds us that every single gift, every single blessing is not a guarantee, that it is a literal gift, a blessing. And it is so important to live from a place of awareness and from a place of gratitude. Why, Sandy? Why is it so important that I acknowledge every single one of my blessings? Because when we are no longer aware of our blessings, something so subtle begins to happen inside of us. And we don't usually recognize it until it has already happened. Our heart becomes hardened. Entitlement begins to creep in. We no longer see blessings as blessings, but rather as something that we deserve. When we do not live from a place of genuine gratitude, we can fall into discontentment. We begin to focus on the things that we do not have and overlook all that we do have. Comparison to the Joneses begins to take place. We look around at what everyone around us has, and we forget about the very things that God gave us. How do you think that makes God feel? Matter of fact, I want you to think about something. Let's just play on a little bit of an analogy. Imagine that you have a child and you have been working tirelessly to buy your child a gift. And finally, after putting in countless hours of work, you're able to buy this gift for your child. And the day comes where you wrap it as nice as you're able to, and you're excited with anticipation because you're going to give this gift to your child that you know they're going to like. And you hand over the gift, and they begin to unwrap this gift. And when they see what's inside all of the wrapping, they look up at you and they say, "Why didn't you get me what Jackie or Susie or Kenny has? Why didn't you get me what their parents got them?" Or let's say, for example, you are working tirelessly, relentlessly in a project that your boss asks that you do. And the day of presentation comes and you show up to the office and you give it your all, this thing that you have put your blood, sweat, and tears into. And at the end of the presentation, your boss looks over to you and he says, "That could have been better." Silly analogies, I know. But how often are we these individuals? How often does God answer one of our prayers and he delivers that which we are asking for, only for us to appreciate it momentarily and then turn around and look at blessings that others have? I've learned over time that even difficult seasons bring with them hidden blessings. These trials, these storms allow us to see God at work. If I can be honest, I think that I have gone through one of the most difficult years of my life. I have had to be pruned and matured in areas that I did not know I needed maturing. My faith has been tested. My patience has been tested. My willingness. But it is in these moments of difficulties, these trials, that we truly are able to see God at work. Sickness reveals God's healing power. Financial difficulty reveals to us Jehovah Jireh, which is translated to God will provide. And provide he does supernaturally in ways that we cannot explain, where we look at what he's done and all we can say is God did this. These very things are able to develop gratitude and appreciation inside of us that otherwise we would not be able to acknowledge or come to know. Ingratitude or lack of gratitude can rob us of our joy. I love the story of King David in the Bible. This man, from a very, very early age, was put through the ringer. Persecution, rejection, betrayal. But through it all, songs of praise were lifted to the Lord. If we think about it, gratitude and awareness are a form of spiritual discipline. When we practice these, we are saying, "Lord, I see what you are doing, and I am grateful for every single thing." And I am sure that that is something that pleases the heart of God. When we talk about the goodness of God, we don't just know that he is good because there are countless Bible verses that tell us that he is good. We know because he showed it through his very example. Jesus lived a life of gratitude, of humility, and of service. It's all fun and games and appreciation and gratitude of all the blessings that we have and that we've received until it is time for us to serve and for us to be a blessing. The Bible tells us in the book of Acts that it is more blessed to give than to receive. And this is what Jesus did. I am reminded of the scripture in Hebrews 12:2 that tells us, let us keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, who is the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him, and that's what I want to emphasize on, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has now been set at the right hand of the throne of God, who for the joy set before him endured all forms of suffering. And though today's message isn't about suffering, suffering is part of life. And regardless of the trials and regardless of the storms that we face, we must remember to live from a place of gratitude. That is the model that we are called to live by. Become acquainted with the fact that gratitude is the fuel that enables us to serve wholeheartedly, genuinely, and to be a blessing. This very gratitude helps us recognize that regardless of what is happening to us or around us, God's goodness does not change. Matter of fact, I want to encourage you this day to take a moment to stop. Like I said, to get off that hamster wheel, to get off, to just deviate a little bit from that rat race and to look around. Except if maybe you're driving, maybe don't look around just then. But take a moment today to really stop whatever it is the chaos around you is asking of you and look around and become genuinely, truthfully aware of every single blessing that you have been given that perhaps you've been overlooking. Do not allow entitlement and discontentment steal your joy. When we live from a place of love, of genuine gratitude and appreciation, we are able to see the essence of God at work in us and through us. So whatever you do, try to remember and fix your eyes on the goodness of God that does not change. That is all that I have for you today. I do hope that this message serves its purpose. I do hope that it reaches the right individuals that needed to hear it. I do hope to see you again soon. Until next time, God bless each and every one of you. Ciao.